Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Alright, so the family and I had just returned from a family vacation in Lake Placid. If you don't know where Lake Placid is, it's in the Adirondack Mountains. Adirondack Mountains are about, I think they said, was it 16,000 miles of national park? I don't know, you could look up the stuff. But ideally, I like going up north to the mountains because it's beautiful, it's country, it's mountainous, and if you are going to one of these national parks like the missus and I like to do, you will have to do a lot of trekking, hiking, camping, fishing, that kind of thing. It's more of an outdoorsy type of family vacation. It just depends on how you like your bread buttered. For me, I always want to be outside, and now that we have our son that's 3 years old, we're trying to get him acclimated to not just being a city kid, but of course be a outdoorsman like his dad. And I think it's important to have the best of both worlds. We went on a hike, and I want to talk a little bit about complacency. The place we stayed was Whiteface Mountain Lodge. If you haven't gone there, go there. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Whiteface Mountain is the fifth highest mountain, I think, in the Adirondacks or Northeast, something like that. I think it's in the Northeast. It's the fifth highest mountain. I think it's 4,800 feet above sea level. It's beautiful. But there are other trails and lakes and stuff that go around there that you can also take. Some people do hike that mountain, but there is also a road, and I think it's like $15 to get into the mountain, to the toll road, and then you can drive up, or you can take a bike, or you can hike it. If you are going to hike it, be advised, that's 4,800 feet, and a lot of it is vertical, and it's about 8 miles or 9 miles up, and then 8 or 9 miles back. So it's about 16 miles round trip if you intend on hiking it. I had plans to do it, but things didn't work out, so we went to Cobble Mountain, and I got it from this book. This is on Amazon, 12 Short Hikes of Near Lake Placid, and it was awesome. It's the first one. It's supposed to tell you that, yeah, it's only 2 miles round trip to the summit, the loop. Visitors of Lake Placid are often struck by the gorgeous view of high peaks from the shores of Mirror Lake. They may not be impressed with the rocky knob just across the water, but there's no reason to ignore it. And this is an unassuming protuberance known as Cobble Hill. Offers a grand vista of a larger mountains and a nice payoff for a quick little hike. Understand how I'm reading this, all right? There's a reason for it. This shortest path to the summit is only 0.65 miles, but it requires you to climb up a scramble up a short but steep slab near the top. Some folks, including young children, might find the exposure intimidating. You can avoid the slab entirely by taking the back trail to the summit. It's a little bit longer, 1.3 miles, but mellow. Ideally, you'll combine the trail into a 2-mile loop, ascending to the short route of descending to a long one, which takes you past the pretty Echo Lake, which is true. We went that way. The hike as described. Okay, there's the Northwood, tells you how to get there. It also says in 1950s, investors planned on creating a ski area on Cobble Hill. The venture failed, but the chairlift foundation is still there. Beautiful spot, and then it tells you, how to get there, the lake, and where it is, and all that stuff. So this is on Amazon if you guys are interested. Pretty decent guidebook, but I will say that there is, if you go to any of the hotels there, they also have their own little guidebook. It's like just a printed out sheet of paper. But I like to get these because these are published, and sometimes it has stuff on there that the other ones don't. Now notice how I said it was only 1 point or 2 point whatever miles. All right, we went up the steep incline first. Now I want you to understand that my wife is a city gal. Nothing against her, love her. Of course, married her. But she's not so much as an outdoor person as I am. I'm always in the woods. And it does take a certain amount of stamina to get up there. My wife is not a large woman. She's not, but she doesn't run marathons either. So, You know, to each his own, but, you know, I find that she's very tough mentally. So I know if I take her on a hike, she might moan and complain a little bit, but she'll make it. My son is 3, so his legs are smaller, okay? So I had to carry him a lot. Now, the reason I'm telling you all this is because I'm trying to set you up to understand that we did a hike described in the book and checked the weather, and the weather said chance of clouds, chance of storms, but only like 40%. Now, this is the Adirondack Mountains, so if there's a chance, it's guaranteed going to happen. I was dressed with very little kit, as you can see on the table. I had on jeans. I had on, luckily I had on some wool socks, and I had my trail runners, not my hiking boots. These are pretty good trail runners, the Solomons. I love these boots, or these shoes, but they're not made for wet weather. They're just made for trail running. I had on a t-shirt, and I had on this jacket right here. This is more of a tactical jacket made by Rothko. And it's like a fleece-lined shell. Nothing spectacular about that. My wife had on sweatshirt and jeans and some boots, and of course my son was dressed the same, okay? We had some snacks. We had like candy bars and stuff. We had, my wife had her water bottle, I had my water bottle, and I also had a water bag. And of course I had stuff like this, like I had my firearm on me. This is a 10 mil 29, and I always carry this in the woods. Alright, so it's my 10 mil auto Glock 29, and I always carry the hard cast flat nose for animals. There's cougar, there's bear, there's, you know, all kinds of wildlife up there, especially as you go farther up north. I had my ZT knife, which is my everyday carry. I really like this knife. I've been carrying it for a long time. As you can tell, I lost one of the screws. Alright, this came off a couple times, so I beat this knife up. Now, I'm a knife maker, but I do not make folding knives, so that's why you kind of see this stuff. We got stuck. We went up to the peak of the mountain, and we got stuck up there. We were up there. We first tried to traverse the hard part, which was only 0.6 miles. And when they say sheer, I mean the shit was vertical. Alright, so it was a vertical rock with a rope, and you had to pull yourself up the rope. Now, I had on a pack, my wife had on the diaper bag pack, and I had my son, who weighs about, I want to say about 40-50 pounds by now. He's tall, he's a big kid. So the wife just put the kibosh on it. She's like, listen, we're not doing that. She says, I'm not going to risk you with a pack on with all that weight and then carrying our son up a sheer mountain. And I agreed with that, so we had to come all the way back down and then traverse around the lake. By that time, the sun was getting a little bit darker, you know, a little bit cloudy, a little bit overcast, not a big deal. And we got up to the top, and I'll show you pictures, I'll run pictures. It was beautiful out. I mean, you could actually see, you know, we were tired because we did the extra couple miles, but it was nice. It was definitely worth it. I started to notice storm clouds. I immediately told the wife, let's go. It's time to get off this mountain. We're going to get smashed by storm clouds. It took maybe 5 minutes getting off the peak of the mountain, and we got drenched. Not just regular rain, but I have never been in a, what do you call it, flash flood? We got flash flooded off the mountain, all right? And the water was so heavy and so thick that I had to pick up my son so he didn't get swept away. And I held him to my chest, and I'm just booking down this mountain. I mean, like, just trying to not kill myself. My wife was behind me. She was taking a little bit slower. She, like I said, she's not a mountain goat like I am. And I did fall and bust my ass a few times. Luckily, I fell on my back. I made sure that I fell on my back because my pack was back there. And I cushioned him, so he didn't get hurt. I mean, I hurt myself, but not to the point where I couldn't carry on. The point of the story is that everything that I had in this bag was not sufficient if we had to stay overnight, okay? And I always preach, you know, be prepared, always have your stuff, always be your kit, be prepared, And I wasn't. And the reason I wasn't is because I was unfamiliar with the terrain. You know, like I said, I'm always in the woods, no big deal, but I'm unfamiliar with the terrain. We were only going out for a short hike, according to the book. You know, I didn't want to carry too much kit, just something to, like, if it did rain, I have a raincoat, and I'll pull this out in a second. And I was unprepared. If we had to stay out there, we probably would have got hypothermia. I didn't have anything except a little bit of food, a little bit of water, and this is how quickly things can turn bad. Now, it was only 2 miles. I could definitely pull someone out of the woods in 2 miles. It wasn't a big deal. But if I had gone on the Whiteface Mountain, which I was planning to do on a solo hike, which is 8 miles, and I was ill prepared, you could see how you can die. You can detrimentally hurt yourself. And I had no other communication other than my cell phone. All right. So let's get into this bag, and I'll show you how ill prepared I was. Now, like I said, I had my runners on, which were not made for wet weather. Luckily, I had a good pair of socks. I did have a water bladder. All right. In the top of this pack, I just have a few odds and ends, like some food. I don't know what I was going to use, but this is like if you have a child, you understand what I'm talking about, all right? So you'll carry a lot of stuff for everyday items. Like I had a flashlight in there, I had a lighter, a pen, some crazy glue, some change. I did have a Leatherman, so that was good. I remembered to bring a Leatherman. And I always keep pocket change in there, and I had a handcuff key. All right, that's very useful in a wilderness environment to have a handcuff key. All right, and I have about, I don't know, maybe 75 cents in change. All right, in this pocket, I didn't have anything. Let's open this. So this is my raincoat. I gave it to my wife because, like I said, she didn't have anything to wear to protect herself from the rain. So this is like when I went to Whitefish Mountain, Montana. I love Montana. Definitely go to Montana. It's just one of those raincoats that you get in the gift shop because I didn't have anything. Again, I forgot because I'm human. 100% polyester, but it worked. Like I said, I had that jacket on, the Rathco jacket, which, by the way, is water resistant, not waterproof. I was completely soaked. So as you can see over here, outer layer is 100% polyester, high density fabric with 4-way elasticity, which basically means after you're in a deluge of water, it will seep in, and it did. It took me 2 days to get all the water to dry from this jacket. So again, great tactical jacket, but not a raincoat. All right. So I also had a fleece, which I didn't even bother because the weather was sunny until it rained. Oh, I'm sorry, the weather was about 70 degrees until it rained, so that would have been good for a warming layer, but I never used it. I had some maps, waterproofed. I had my Shema. I had a medical kit, which, by the way, this medical kit's always in this bag, but it's really for trauma. So this was one of the kits I had on my gun belt when I do my tactical classes. And it has a tourniquet in here, and it has some, you know, blood clot thinning, but it's not a regular boo-boo ouch stuff, but I always just keep it in there. Let's see. And I had a knife. All right, this happens to be the SE4, but I put it in there as a representation. I always carry my Mark 1 Scout. I had my Mark 1 Scout on me. So I wasn't carrying this, I was carrying a Mark 1 Scout, but my Mark 1 Scout is going hunting with me. And as a knife maker, I should probably just make 2 or 3, right? But again, I had one, and I just keep it in there just for a fixed blade option. And that's pretty much it, guys. There's not much in here. So I had a little bit of food, snacks, water, some maps. I did have GPS on me, all right, that kind of things. But understand that a beautiful family vacation can turn into a tragedy. I was very lucky. We got my son back to the car. I immediately changed all his clothes. I threw the heater on full blast. We got back to the hotel. We stripped everybody down, and we got into a hot bath. Now, my son has a cold, obviously, because he's 3, and they're susceptible to that kind of thing. More worried about hypothermia than anything else, because even in 70-degree weather, you can get hypothermia. And he's 3 years old, and now he has a cold. He'll live, don't worry, he'll tough it out. My wife, again, also has a cold. I myself, fared a little bit better, but I think mostly because my adrenaline was pumping 100%. I didn't want him to go into shock, my wife to fall, go into shock, that kind of thing. I didn't have any overhead cover at all packed in that bag. Clothes on our body. I didn't even have a fire kit. Did you see me pull out a fire kit? Nope. I didn't have any of that stuff. So be advised, be aware, understand your surroundings. Do not take the mountains lightly. I think it's important to always be prepared. And I never wear jeans on a hike. I always wear those hiking pants that are quick dry. My hat was soaked. I had on a ball cap. My hat was soaked. And one of those things that you really got to be careful about. So thank you very much for listening to my story. I'm going to roll some pictures. Go to the mountains, but go prepared, please. Enjoy yourself. Family vacation was awesome. I did happen to drive up to Whiteface Mountain, which was also awesome. And then, of course, because my son and wife were sick, we had to end our vacation a little bit earlier, which I'm a little bit upset about, but it is what it is. Go to threeriverblades.com. Check out all the knives I have up there. Please buy a knife. It is October, November. So Christmas season is coming up. Hunting season is here. threeriverblades.com. Check it out. Be safe. Talk to you soon. Thanks.